Okay, terrific. Thank you all for joining us for the UCF Graduate Programs in Research Administration. Today, we are very fortunate to have with us the director of the program, Dr. White Jones. She is currently the director of the Master in Research Administration program at the University of Central Florida. She is a faculty member in the School of Public Administration and UCF Teaching in Nonprofit Management and Research Administration graduate programs. She teaches courses specifically related to grant and contract management, program evaluation for public programs, strategic planning and management, and leadership and organizational models in research administration. Professionally, Dr. White Jones has written and been awarded over $30 million in grants and contracts in her career, including solo and team participation on proposals for awards from the Florida Housing and Finance Corporation, Housing and Urban Development Community Block Grants, and the Agency for Persons with Disabilities, as well as a variety of foundations and corporations. She is currently a board member of the Junior League of Greater Orlando and a current editor board member for the Research Management Review and Journal of Research Administration.
Hi, Crystal, this is Elizabeth. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
We can all hear you, Elizabeth.
Okay, great. I was just coming in to make sure everything was okay with the recording. And Angela, you can share your own slides.
Great, thank you, Elizabeth.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I'm just going to finish up Dr. White Jones's bio real quick. In addition to doing all the amazing things I just mentioned, she's still currently an editorial board member for the Research Management Review and Journal of Research Administration, and a past author fellow for the Society of Research Administrators International. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. Dr. White Jones, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Nicole, and good afternoon to those of you who are on the East Coast, and for those of you who are joining us in other places, good morning, and we welcome you, or I welcome you, to our Lunch and Learn session about UCF graduate programs and research administration. That was such a nice bio, and I like the break in it actually, because I rarely like to talk about myself. I really prefer to talk about our program and how it can help other students as well. So I just want to welcome all of you to this Lunch and Learn. If you have questions, of course, feel free to put them in the chat, or you may certainly ask them throughout the presentation or hold them for later if you need to. It is not a problem. I know one of our moderators will, of course, facilitate those questions as they come along. But I'm excited to talk to everybody about our program in research administration, our master's degree program. And this first slide, as you can see, we talk about why one would want to explore research graduate education or research administration graduate education. And these are just a few different statements that have been made over the years by students and by people who have been interested in graduate education, getting the MRA or an MS degree in research administration. So some of these answers include building deeper knowledge of current topics. So you may encounter someone who wants to really dig deeper and get more in depth into a specific topic of their choosing, or a topic that they may have to understand and analyze for their job, or that they're just curious about. And you can also explore different areas of research administration. So let's say you have been primarily working in a pre-award area or in post-award. Exploring graduate research or graduate education and research administration enables you to look at a variety of different topics and really hone in to some subjects that maybe through your work you're not necessarily able to look at or investigate or work with. But as a student, you're able to do that. And you oftentimes will find, hey, I'm really interested in a specific subject, or I'm looking at clinical trials or clinical research administration. That really interests me. Or I really have a heart for compliance and I never knew that I did. So education in this particular area allows all of the students to be able to explore different types of areas of research administration. It also builds a connection between theory and practice. So as we've talked about this whole week, and I really hope all of you have taken advantage of looking at as much of these wonderful topics throughout this week here at FRAC, because they've been amazing. And as we've seen, a lot of the work that we do is rooted in practice and practical implications and what we are doing, what we need to do, what the policies are saying, or what we're looking at towards the future. And with education in this particular round, graduate education, we're also able to build between theory and practice. So we're creating not only the skill set to make you better research administrators, but we're also developing that academic practice and that theory. We're having people who are experts in the field develop and create these theories so that down the line, if people have questions or they want to know what happens when, XYZ occurs, there may be theory behind this that we are able to build upon. And that, again, helps with research in and of itself, and it helps with the practice and modeling those practices for those who want to utilize that theory in their own professional jobs. So the connection between theory and practice is highly critical in graduate education. It also can build confidence among early career researchers. And truth be told, it's not just early career researchers, it's mid-career, it's late career, it's at any stage of your career to build that confidence. But we're finding that for those who especially are starting their career, getting a graduate degree in research administration really has connected with them and made them feel like they are experts in what it is that they're doing, and that they continue to get more comfortable and more experience, not just with what they're doing in the job, but also what they're doing in the educational space. And lastly, and probably one of the most practical things that we hear, is that you get promoted and it helps to increase salary. I believe that Dr. Shambrook, Jennifer Shambrook, did a study a few years ago that took a look at the promotion rates and salary increases for research administrators that have a graduate degree and research administrators that did not possess a graduate degree. And she found that those who did possess a graduate degree did have a significant amount of opportunity for both promotion and for increased salary as well. And so from a practical standpoint, you may find that furthering your education in this field is advantageous to you if you wanted to open up the door to additional promotional possibilities as well as salary increases. Our program here at UCF has what we call a holistic program of study. And here we believe that it helps research administrators represent their institutions in a variety of ways as it relates to things such as research development, which is a very big topic that's happening right now, grants and contracts administration, regulatory compliance, institutional policies and procedures, especially as they're constantly changing, as we all know, commercialization and technology transfer, and economic development as well. And so these are just a few areas that we believe our program touches upon and digs a bit deeper into those particular contexts that can help you in your job and in your professional outlook as well. So when we talk about exploring different areas of research administration, one of my favorite areas to do and topics to talk about is the fact that as an educator or as a student, you get to investigate new areas and topics in the field. And we've seen our students look at topics that are related to, but of course, these are not limited to things like technology and e-security, international relationships and collaboration, team diversity and inclusion practices, and foreign interference in research. And even this week, we've seen that there are a myriad of different topics in research administration that are not only growing, but they're changing, and they're changing rapidly. So in education, it allows us to be a bit on the forefront of these changes, to investigate what is happening, to have studies, hold presentations, write papers, really talk to each other in the class about any and all of these areas and how they relate to us as research administrators. What is it going to look like in the future? And how can we learn from some of our past issues in those areas, and how those past issues can inform our future? So I like this cartoon that I have, and I frequently in my classes use cartoons or videos. And so this says, well, what is it? Says the scientist. And the administrator says, well, you said to do an abstract, and he did an abstract painting. So it can be what exploring these different areas of research administration can be whatever it is that the student feels compelled to do. And that's why I love our program, because we're a generalist program that really enables our students to try to tailor and study subjects that they're interested in. And if they want to go into a different direction, they're more than able to do that as well. Our philosophy of the program is as follows. Again, we want to educate and prepare highly skilled research administrators that can strengthen the research enterprise. We want to prepare our leaders in research administration with the advanced skills that they need to manage and be able to comply with these ever-changing and often complex government and sponsor regulations. And we want to prepare research administrator students with the knowledge to perform at the mid to high level professional tasks, perform at a high level with these tasks, and develop the processes that are able to reduce researchers' administrative burden, so that too can allow the researcher to focus more fully on their particular projects. So here's a little bit more about UCF's MRA program. So we started our program in 2011, and we graduated our first class in 2013. So we have been around for 10 years. We're really excited about this milestone being around and here and growing at UCF for that decade mark. And we look forward to 10 years after that and 10 years after that. And we've had over 100 graduates to date, 117 to be exact, with over 60 promotions of our students, not counting multiple promotions. So if they go and get promoted several times in their office, we're only counting just the individual promotion from the individual person from place to place. There's been 32 conference presentations and 20 publications. I believe this number is definitely going to be increasing because we have a couple of students who are due to present at conferences, I believe at the FRA and PRA conference for Incura. We've got a couple of students that will be presenting at local conferences, some that are going to be engaging in UCF's graduate research symposium. So they're really getting that experience again to talk about their research pursuits and their educational pursuits in an effort to build the theory and the academic practice of research administration on top of the practical aspect. This is a professional degree, so we look at it much the same as you would an MBA or an MPA with the MRA. It is 100% online, so you are not expected to come to Orlando, Florida, unless you would like to, if you are in town. Perhaps when you're able to, if you would like to visit, we are always open and on campus and ready to tour you of both the main and UCF downtown campuses that we have, but you are not obligated to take classes in person. It's 100% online. And again, we prepare individuals to practice as highly trained and ethical research administrators in every course that we have. The program curriculum is as follows. So for the Masters in Research Administration program, it requires 36 credit hours beyond your bachelor's degree or 2 years. And we have a cohort-based model for these 6 semesters. So what is great about the cohort-based model is that students stay together. So oftentimes when we have this online education, the rub about it, or what people find that they don't like, is that they don't feel connected to their fellow students. They don't feel connected to their campus. They don't feel connected to their instructor. So the cohort-based model is a way for students to really have that experience of being in this program together. You come in together, let's say in the fall, and then you graduate 6 semesters after that together. And what that also does is not only connect each other and have that kind of camaraderie through the graduate degree experience, but what it also does is provide your own network. So I can't tell you how many times we've had former students that have let me know of the friendships that they have made and that they have built from people that they have met in our program. They can bounce different ideas off of each other. If there's something that's happening in their particular job and they want to know, like, I wonder, is this happening anywhere else? They know that they've got people in their cohort from other universities or other organizations that may have gone through a similar situation or the same situation, that they can call and see, okay, well, this happened at this particular university. I wonder, can this be structured for mine? So just that built-in network, that camaraderie, that friendship, I think really helps to make a difference in our online program. And then we
Dr.
also,
White-Jones?
yes.
I'm sorry to jump in.
Sure. No, that's
we
perfect.
We have an online question for you. Can the
Okay.
program be taken part-time?
That's a great question. So by UCF standards, yes, this program is designed part-time for students who may work as well. So probably I would say 95% of our students are working full-time while in this program. And so if you were to take, let's say, usually students end up taking about 2 classes per semester or 6 credit hours. But let's say it is a particularly challenging time, and I think we all can speak to that happening, whether it was personally or professionally. But if it is a particular challenging time, we've had students that have had to take down those 6 credit hours to 3 credit hours and just take 1 course for a semester or 2. We have what is called a success coach, and she is along with our advising office, but our success coach is specifically for the MRA program. And so she helps you navigate your plan of study. So if you find that you need to take, instead of 2 classes, just 1 class, then you will work with her to just have an amended plan of study. So it may take you a little longer than the 2 years, but obviously life happens and you have to prioritize as you need to. And we're there to just make sure that we can help you do that.
Okay, we have a couple follow-up questions to that. Are summer semesters available as well?
Yes, absolutely. You can start in the summer. Our students take classes in the summer the same way that they do in the fall and spring. So we do have summer courses.
Okay, and from a UCF employee, we have a question regarding tuition waivers. Why can we not use our employee tuition waivers for this program?
That's a very good question. And I too would love it if you could use the UCF tuition waiver. That's honestly not something that I have any control over. That is a little bit above my particular pay grade, but I believe that the way that they are stating it may have something to do with just the fact that we're a market tuition rate. So they want to make sure that the tuition stays the same for both in and out of state. I actually do not fully know why the tuition waiver for UCF employees is not accepted for this particular program. I will say that some students who have attended our program who also are working at UCF have had their tuition reimbursed. by their particular office. So connect with your office and see if they're able to do that. And you can always email me with any specifics, or we can point you to our budget office. But I would love it if we could have a little bit more flexibility with those particular state tuition waivers. But unfortunately, that is outside of my particular control. But that's a good question. That's a very good question. No problem. And I'll talk a little bit more too about costs and tuition in a little bit. So I'll talk a bit more and hopefully be able to provide some particular alternatives that could be helpful. So our final course is an evaluation project. We don't have what is typically known as a thesis. We have an evaluation that takes a look at a particular program that you have or a project of your choosing, and then you are to incorporate all of the different areas of the curriculum inside of this particular evaluation course. This is probably one of my favorite courses that I teach, because it's really the culmination of these 2 years worth of effort that students have, and to see that last project be something that they can have in their own professional portfolio is just amazing to see. The graduate research or graduate certificate in research administration is half of the time of the master's degree program. So it's 18 credit hours above your bachelor's of online courses. And again, it's a 1-year-long program where students are taking courses again in fall, spring, and summer. And so students will take 12 hours of required courses and then choose 6 hours of elective courses. And so here's just an example of a MRA plan of study. So you can see here are the required courses that students must take. And we have things such as an introduction class, which is really fun, our governance and regulatory issues for sponsored programs. We talk about leadership and organizational models, some financial management, contracting, IP, tech transfer, there's audits, research integrity, and public program evaluation techniques. And then at the bottom there are the additional program requirements, or what could be termed as our electives, which are our grant and contract management, our human resource management, and our strategic planning and management. And the asterisks there are the service learning courses. And this is what I think is pretty cool about our program as well. UCF in general is really big on experiential learning, where our students are going outside of the classroom and are developing different projects or proposals for actual clients or actual individuals. So each of those classes enable the students to find a service learning partner and work with them to complete that semester's project. So for example, in the grant and contract management class this semester, we have students that reach out to a particular partner, and it could be their own employer, it could be someone else, it could be a service learning partner that has been through the experiential learning process at UCF and has come to us saying, we need someone to help us write a grant proposal, or we need someone to help us write a strategic plan. And in the grants class, the students will then partner with that outside partner, go through the entire class, and then eventually at the end of the semester, sometimes even before, depending on when that proposal is due, a student will have a crafted grant proposal that they have worked with the PI or with the organization, or the same thing with the strategic plan. A student will develop a strategic plan and then have a final one to then turn over to the service learning partner, and they can also keep that because that's their particular intellectual property. They can keep that in their own particular portfolio. And therefore, you've got a strategic plan at the ready. You've got the development of a grant proposal. You have the development of an evaluation. So, and these are things that are being used outside. We've had students that have written proposals that have been funded. They've gone to countries outside of the United States to implement what has been funded. So those classes are really, really fun, and I think a unique type of aspect to our plan. Online experiences. So again, everyone wonders, like, can I do this online? Do I want to do this online? So let me tell you a little bit about our online experiences. We have our faculty members who are awesome. I mean, they are great. They are very experienced faculty. I would say that they have multiple years, decades of experience in research administration specifically, and have worked in every corner, I would say, of our profession. And not only that, but they are dedicated and required to online teaching. And so all faculty members, if you teach online, must engage in teaching training for online specific courses. UCF is one of the forefronts actually in online teaching, and we have a myriad of different training programs to meet those needs for our students by our faculty. We use web courses, which is part of Canvas. So if you're familiar with Canvas, especially during COVID, if you have children and they have had online experiences, you may have seen them work inside of the Canvas framework. And we have a similar framework, which we call web courses, for our interface. And we utilize many visual aids, chats, conferences, Zoom, to connect with each other. All of our instructors are different. I'll speak for me. I have a weekly chat on Zoom. It's not graded, so students, if they can't come, then that's okay. But it's a way for all of us, again, to connect in person and be able to see each other and talk to each other, talk about what we learned for the week, if there were any questions about the assignment, if we needed any clarification, hear your other fellow classmates' experiences about that. And I love a good video, so I often will record videos to show, just to have a wide range of modalities when it comes to learning, because not every student is the same. Some love the power of the written word, and they love to read all of our modules that are on there and look at it and really dig into that. And others really do like to hear my voice. They like to see me, they like to see each other. So either way that you learn, we have our visual aids and our chats and conferences that are there for you. Our instructors typically set up our modules, or what we call kind of our weekly lesson plan, with assignments that are submitted as assignments in and of itself, that you use the Word document for, or discussion spaces. We also have a great tech team in UCF. We have web courses at UCF, which is there to help all students and faculty as well with any technical issues that occur at any time. And we just find that this online experience is clear, and it's convenient, and it's constructive, and it's always changing to make this experience the best it can be for our students. Tuition. So for both the MRA as well as the graduate certificate, the cost per credit hour is $655.62. The asterisk there is stating with the fees that may or may not come out of it. Some fees that we have for students who go to UCF in person are taken out of the tuition for those who go online. We find that these rates are still competitive with other programs of this nature. And again, this tuition is for people that are both in and out of state. And while, as the question was posed earlier, we don't unfortunately take any tuition waivers if you're a UCF employee, we do take outside financial aid awards and tuition reimbursement if your employer does have that. For example, Incura has the scholarship that is designed for individuals who would like to go and continue their education in the graduate field. And so we have had students that have applied and have won that particular scholarship. Or if there's another scholarship that you have that is available. UCF also has travel scholarships. So if you are going to a conference and you are presenting at a conference, we have travel awards that are available for our students. And we are always looking, I will say, myself and our budget office are always looking for ways that we can mitigate tuition for our students, particularly as it would be based on merit or on need. But right now we have, again, take the ability to take outside awards and tuition reimbursement.
Dr. White-Jones, we have another
Yes.
question for you.
All right.
What time are the classes and are they recorded?
Very, very good question. So in our program, we have asynchronous learning, meaning that you can take the modules at any time. So we do not have time courses. You don't have to be there at, let's say, 9 a.m. or at 7 p.m. or what have you. The chats are live, but again, those chats are not graded. They're not going to interfere. Where in my class, they're not going to interfere with your grades. So if you can make it, great, but if you can't, those chats are recorded. But the classes themselves or the modules are open and available for you at any time, including the videos that are within that. So if you are a person who likes to study at midnight, they will be there. If you're like, I got to get all my work done midnight on Wednesday, it will be there. If you're like, no, I prefer to do my work at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, it will be there. If you've got to finish everything or you're going to start on Monday and you need to finish things on a Saturday because, again, life and work happens, you can do that too. So they are not synchronous. They're not live courses. We just open them up typically every week so that much the same as if you were in a traditional in-person class where you're learning, one subject this week, you're learning another subject the next week. That's how we open up the modules. But once they're open for the rest of the semester, and you can always refer back to them. In fact, we love it when you do refer back to it, but there aren't any live classes where you have to join at a specific time.
Excellent, thank you.
So why UCF? Well, we have, like I said, a long-standing program in research administration. We've been around for 10 years. And again, we plan on being around 10 more and 10 more and 10 more after that, and so on and so forth. And we believe that this program is a comprehensive program that can fit your needs, however and wherever you may be in your professional career. We have a dedicated and experienced faculty. We have faculty that just love our students, love giving our students the knowledge that they have gleaned through their experience. We have service learning and experiential learning curriculum, as I've talked about. It can help you prepare for the CRA or any additional education. We've had quite a few students that have gone on to pursue doctorates in different types of fields, whether it is a PhD or a DBA. UCF in and of itself has a PhD program in public administration. But what's good about that is that because the research administration program is housed in the School of Public Administration, that PhD program, you could, in theory, design your PhD to look very similar and approach a research administration question. And you can have myself or other faculty on your dissertation committee as well, because we have, well, we like to say we break out different parts of what's in public administration. So that may be public administration in general, that may be nonprofit management, that may be emergency management, it may be research administration, and it may be public policy or urban and regional planning. So wherever you feel, again, like from a doctoral standpoint, your needs are, our UCF program, our UCF PhD in public administration can also help you get there inside of a research administration context. We feel like we do, oh, yes.
I'm sorry, Dr. White-Jones, excuse me for interrupting.
No,
we have
no
another
problem.
question.
Yes.
We have another question regarding the tuition.
Yes.
Does the tuition lock in with acceptance?
Yes. Yes. Typically, knock on, my desk isn't made of wood right here, but knock on this, we have not had any significant tuition changes in a number of years. So your tuition typically will stay the same. Again, The university could always change it, but we've been at 655 for a number of years. There's not any, to my knowledge, plans to change that this year or in the coming 2022, 2023 year or 23-24 forecast. So if you were to start, let's say this summer in the program, then your 655, 62 is very likely to stay at that same rate.
Thank you.
No problem. And well, and that kind of goes along with the great value of education as well, for what UCF provides. The fact that this school is an extraordinarily large school. It's one of the largest in the country in terms of students who are attending both in person and online. You're getting such a great value by being a part of the UCF Knights family. And of course, UCF, as well as our college and our school, the School of Public Administration, has consistently been ranked as one of the best schools in America by US News and World Report. So we're really, really excited about that and would be excited to have you as a UCF Knight.
Okay, Dr. White, we have another question.
Sure.
Along those lines, what is the graduation rate and how successful were the students who were enrolled in this program pass the exam?
Great. I actually do not have information as far as I'm guessing you mean CRA passage of the exam or just in general? Because we are looking to get that information as far as CRA passage from our students. So that I do not have, but as far as students in matriculation and the graduation rate, we have, I think I can say that we have the highest graduation rate in our school, in the School of Public Administration. About 93% of our students graduate on time and are retained, and about 97% of our students graduate within 2 years. If it's after their due date to graduate, they graduate usually 2 years or less from when they were supposed to graduate in that particular window. So it is very, 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 very rare that a student does not complete the program at all, or that a student takes beyond the university mandated 7 years for graduate education to take. It's extraordinarily rare. So a high amount of our students do graduate. We have a good amount of students that have passed their CRA exam. There have been some of our students that have taken it inside while they're actually getting the degree as well and have passed. And then there have been students who have already had the CRA that have then gone to get their MRA. But we're still working on the passage rates of the CRA post-graduation from the program.
Okay. We have another question regarding timeline here.
Yes.
If you take a summer course, does that shorten the 2-year length of the program?
No, because the summer course is included in the plan of study. So we already assume that, because there are going to be courses that you're going to need to take that are only going to be offered in the summer. So it's already built into your graduate study. I will say we do get these questions fairly often now, that there are students who want to double up on their course load because they want to get out less than 2 years. While I would say that there's always a possibility depending on each individual, we take that in a case-by-case basis. It is going to be highly unlikely that we're going to encourage a student to take, let's say, 4 classes in the semester, because most of the time students, again, they're working full time, and to take 4 graduate level classes, even if you think like, I can do it, I've got it. We've had students that have tried to do that have not found themselves to be as successful. And so we want to be able to set you up for success so that you enjoy your time here, and that you enjoy the classes, and that they don't just become a chore for you, or that they don't become something that you don't like, or that you feel like you've just got to check it off. We really want you to have the experience in those classes as well. But
Okay.
it's case by case.
And just one more question, and I wanted to clarify. I have someone asking, I'm very, very interested in this, but I'm currently finishing my bachelor's degree. Is it required a bachelor's degree before entering the MRA program?
Yes, it is. Just also with any UCF graduate program, a bachelor's is required. But if you are currently getting your bachelor's, you can always apply for the program that last semester that you're going to graduate. So you don't have to wait until you have officially walked out the door of whatever your bachelor's degree education is. If you are planning on graduating, for example, this spring, then you are more than welcome to apply for summer entrance or fall entrance. What will likely happen is that the graduate office will just need to see your official final transcript, and they'll work with you on getting that. But if you have some unofficial transcripts up until that point, they certainly understand. And we have had UCF bachelor's degree students as well, when they're in their final semester of getting their BA or BS, then they come and they apply that semester as well. So perfectly fine if you're on the end, but you do have to finish at some point.
Okay, and is there a specific bachelor's degree that the program looks for, or will any bachelor's degree be accepted?
Any bachelor's degree will be accepted. We have students from every corner. I can tell you, I've had history students, English students, psychology students, literary majors, biology, chemistry, government. We've had them all. We've had majors that I don't even know if they're majors anymore. I mean, it has run the gamut. So it's definitely an open field. We don't require that you are in, for example, biology, or that you have, or that you're an English major or anything of that nature.
Okay, thank you. And what is the application acceptance rate for the program?
The acceptance rate is typically about 55–60% at this moment.
Okay, and we
Yeah.
have one more question that you may or may not be able to answer. The question is, what is the best study guide for the CRA exam if it is not this MRA program?
That is a good question. So, and I think it's one that kind of everyone will have their own opinion on what guide was better for them. There are times where people like to go to the courses, or there's some different study groups, I should say. Some universities have study groups, and they have found that is beneficial. The RACC has a couple of documents as well, or just general questions that you can look at. We have in our program, we do have a textbook that we have used. It's a little older though, I would say. I would probably, there's been compendiums that Incura has. They have quite a few books and large scale, like volumes. I think they come in 2 volumes with their sponsored projects guide that have great material. And I think the material comes from the journals, or they come from the magazine as well. But I would say there's probably, everyone's different. There's no one way and one document that's going to get you there. You could get the 2 sponsored volumes. You can go look online to conferences such as this, or go to an SRAI, a Incura annual conference, a PRA, FRA conference, continue to read different magazines and periodicals, and just study, maybe even with, if there's someone in your office who's already taken it and would like to have like a study session of what you may like to look at. All of those things. I think the RACC always has different types of meetings or what have you for you to go to. So that's ways that if you weren't going to go into graduate education, but you wanted to look at a CRA, those are some materials that you can study. But a lot of those, and actually that just leads me to a point that I didn't make so far, but our materials in our class and our textbooks that we have are from research administrators, or they're from people who are writing with a lean towards the work that we do in research administration. So we've been very lucky to have great relationships with other authors and research administrators who have let us adopt their particular texts or articles that are very relevant to the state of research administration where we are today. I know for me that requires a little bit more work, but it's something where that article, I try to look for relevant articles if they were written in 2020. Some that were written in 2015 are still relevant to where we are today. So, but I like to make sure that they have an author who has had experience in research administration. And if for some reason they don't, that the text and the material that they're providing is something that is broad enough that could also be used by research administrators in the field. So I hope that answers some questions. So,
Thank you.
no problem. For the next steps, I'm sure all of you have kind of gone through this, but we just require, again, a GPA of 3.0 on a 4.0 scale in a sealed envelope, 3 letters of recommendation, your resume or CV, your statement of goals. If you are an international student, UCF requires that you have your international transcript be credentialed through either the World Education Services, Wes, or Joseph Silney and Associates. UCF only takes those 2 evaluations. So if you are an international student, please only use one of those 2. And if you have TOEFL requirements, you have to make sure that you meet those minimal TOEFL requirements. And our success coach can be contacted with any questions as well about the application process, in addition to myself. I did want to go and just say, though, regarding both the recommendations and the transcripts, because these are always the parts sometimes that take the longest. One, if you can, with any program, I always talk to my recommenders early, even before I submit an application, to see if they would be willing to write a recommendation for me, just because, again, we're living in these times now, and it may take them a little while to submit a letter of recommendation. We are working on, however, we will work with you that if you have a recommendation in, or you have 2 of them in, and maybe your second or your third one is just taking a very long time, we will work with you on that. So please do not be distressed nor discouraged with the recommendation process. We can work with you. And the same thing also with the GPA equivalent. I know that for some people, especially if you haven't been in school in a while, and you're like, well, the last time I was in school was, a while ago, and I know I didn't have that 3.0 GPA. However, I've been working in research administration for the last 10, 15 years. So I definitely know what I'm doing. And the way that I would work today isn't the way that I would have worked when I was getting my undergraduate degree. Again, we can work with you on that. We have the opportunity to have provisional applicants and accept provisional outstanding applicants in other areas of their application. So we don't just look at the GPA and look at it and say, oh, well, you don't have a 3.0, out of the window. We look at this, again, as a holistic application process. So if you are one of those individuals that think that you may be on the bubble or are concerned a bit about that, please email me. We can chat and talk about your individual experience. And I would love to just kind of walk you through that process. And this is for the MRA. For the graduate certificate, your GPA only needs to meet a 2.5. Application deadlines are as follows. For the fall, it's July 1st, spring, December 1st, summer, April 1st. These also apply to both domestic and international applicants. And our applications and applicants tend to be reviewed by the committee on a rolling basis. So if you were interested in the summer deadline and starting in our summer semester, then I would encourage you to go ahead and apply right now. Because again, the earlier that you apply, the earlier that you will be in the queue for the committee to review your particular application package. And if you were to wait until, let's say, March 31st for an April 1st deadline. It's not saying that you will not have admittance or gain admittance into the program, but we do have a finite amount of slots in the program. And so we want to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to, if they're really excited about it, to start in that semester that they would like to start, if the committee deems them favorable for entrance. So I always tell people, apply as early as possible. If you wanted to apply for the fall, we have had interest for the fall. We've had applicants for the fall, and we've had people who have been accepted already for the fall 2022 cohort, and they applied in 2021. So it's never too early. Don't think that, oh, if I want to apply in the summer, but it's all right, it's just January, I've got some time. You certainly do, but I always encourage people to at least start the application process as early as you can for the semester that you would like to start attending. And
Okay,
here's,
we just have
oh,
one
yeah.
more question.
Sure.
Dr. White-Jones, you had mentioned a cohort grouping. How many students do you accept in each cohort?
So typically in a cohort, we have anywhere between 8 to 15 individuals per cohort. But we're also always looking at, again, the swath of applicants as well. Sometimes we get some really, really talented students. And so if we need to bump that up a little bit, then we will. We absolutely will. And this is my contact information up at the top. Sorry, it's in blue. So it's Angela, angela.white-jones@ucf.edu. That's my email address. Email is probably the best and fastest way to get a hold of me, just because sometimes I'm at the office downtown, sometimes I'm on Main. Many times I'm also still working from home as well. So email is always the quickest way to get a hold of me. But I do have my office line here, and this is my office. If you are ever in town, or if you are local and want to stop by and schedule a meeting with me, I'm usually at the downtown UCF campus, which is our beautiful new campus that opened a couple of years ago in Suite 446. And these two individuals, this is Renee Montgomery, is our student success coach. She is the one that is going to walk you through your plan of study. If you have any other questions about your time in the program as an advisor, also checking in on you if there are things like time management that you want to consider, or if there are other things that you would like her to know about or me to know about. We want to make sure that we're here for you. So Renee is such a great resource. This is her main and direct numbers, as well as her emails. And then Nazrin Lakhani is the Director of Graduate Advisory for the entire School of Public Administration. She worked very closely with this program specifically for a number of years. And so she is also available as a resource as far as your plan of study and advisement, as well as graduation. So with all of that being said, that is it. I know we had a lot of really, really great questions. So I thank all of you for your attentiveness, for your questions. And if there are any other questions, and I'll stop the screen share so that you can see me, but if there are any other questions that you have, I would be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, I'm not seeing anything else. Oh, come in the chat. Okay, just some thank yous. I'm not seeing any of the questions come up in the chat, but I would like to thank you also, Dr. White-Jones, for presenting for us today. It was a very informative presentation on our master's program in research administration here at UCF. So thank you so much for your valuable time. I'm going to let the chat stay open for just another minute or two. If anyone would like to reach out in the chat, you're welcome to do that, or Dr. White-Jones did have her information on screen. If you think of questions later, you can always email her directly. Additionally, the MRA information is available through the UCF website in our graduate programs. So thank you all for attending this afternoon. It looks like we're going to finish up just about 5 minutes early. So 5 minutes back in your day. And thank you all so much again for attending, and we appreciate you supporting UCF and our FRAC conference. Thank you.
Thank you.